We're heading there. We're heading there. There he is. There he is. Welcome, Mike Cushman. Welcome, everybody. And this is Talking Niagara here on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube every morning at 7 a.m. Good morning, Slick.
Hey, what's going on, Gary?
And Gary's always asking, why the heck are you always late? We have lives too. Don't you realize that this right now, Wills?
Yeah, very, very sorry, Gary. Like,
Yeah.
it's
You'll have
it's a character
again.
flaw.
You'll have to be paying reparations again, won't you? You know,
pay reparations. Yeah,
you're making us poor. The fact we don't earn anything on this show, and then you have to pay reparations on our behalf. Where's this going?
I don't know. Anyways,
right.
Yeah. So I was I woke up late this morning. Like I woke up, but then fell back asleep. That is why I was late today. I set my alarm up for a little bit of a 10-minute snooze, but it didn't do it. I woke up with my phone on my chest. I must have turned it off or something. I don't know what it was.
Weird. Okay, all right. So enough of the excuses. Let's get on with the excuses.
Oh, there's no excuses. I just a complete mess when it comes to timing.
So just to let everybody know, of course, we're an independent viewpoint. We're not influenced by Jim, Doug, Mark, Pierre, Donald, or others around the world. Okay.
Yes, but we could be if you give us some money. So all those names you just mentioned, if you want your influence, we are open to corruption. Give us money and we will see it your way.
Yeah, but it'll have to be large enough that we can give up our day jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Gary. Yeah, I'm pretty healthy.
Yeah. Well, it's always the important thing, you know. I think being healthy. I like that. Okay, so Trump basically is saying Tehran wants a deal, and basically there are negotiations going on in Islamabad right now through this ceasefire, and they made the point. Al Jazeera made the point that people came out after 24 hours of discussions in Islamabad. And when you think about it, this is 40 years of dispute between Iran and USA. That isn't going to be wiped out in 24 hours, right? It's more talk about talks at this stage, I think.
Well, it's Iran against the world, really. And but anyway, I would just like to point out that I finally look, we know, like, the president's name is Donald J. Trump, but now we know that J means Jesus. Wow, I didn't know that, but it must be. But anyway,
no, I'm sorry, you pronounce it wrong. If it's in America, that name is Jesus.
Yeah, well, good old Donnie Jesus, weirdo-rama dude. I don't know. I'm not so sure he even knows what he's talking about. More and more, I think everybody's just kind of around him, kind of. He's surrounded by a sycophants that won't say boo to him, and you can see by when they have the round table thing, when they have a discussion when all his people are there around the table, they all say what wonderful he is and how great he is, and over and over and over again, this sort of bootlicking thing goes on. So I'm not so sure you can trust Trump, because he's just going to say anything that pops into his head, like I'm Jesus kind of thing. So we don't know. But what is clear here is the United States and Israel, the largest air force and military in the world, and the largest regional military in the world, has been pounding the snot out of Iran. This is puzzling to Israel and the U.S. because they figured by now Iran would have capitulated, but for some reason they didn't realize that if Iran had anything left that was going to close off the Hormuz Strait. And that's what exactly it did. So, and then they're left scratching their head like, how didn't we figure that one out?
I figured that one out day one of this entire conflict.
Well, everyone else did too. I think the only two people weren't informed about was Trump and Netanyahu. I don't think that for sure. I think they really did think their decapitation strategy would be quick and final, and they wouldn't have to secure the Straits of Hormuz. However, we are in a situation.
Iran is not Venezuela.
Well, yeah, it's quite a bit different. Like that was a masterstroke in Venezuela. Get the one and only person that wouldn't cooperate with. Look what he did there. He just kind of, I'm the new muscle in town. Look, I'm going to take out the mob boss, which is Maduro. Now I'm the mob boss. All you guys you just do what you have to do, but make sure I get the oil and I get it on time. And I'm going to be sending my companies in there to exploit the oil even better. And if you're nice, I'll give you some more coin. In the meantime, stay doing your corrupt socialist government, whatever they have there. And he didn't change that at all. So there's no democracy. If he's smart, he'd make sure that the trickle down effects of the Venezuelan oil that now he collects filters down to the people. That way, everything stays calm for a while. But Iran is a complete difference. There is in Venezuela was a socialistic, sort of a kind of a weirdo-rama socialism that had gone wrong. It was a whole total corrupt government, socialist government that has just gone completely wrong and completely corrupt. What we have here in Iran is a theocracy that has full of corruption. But however, the IRGC and other factors in the government have come up with some very, very effective means in which to sustain themselves during an invasion or fight. They've come up with regional commanders, and when one commander gets hit, there's another one to fill his place. They've anticipated this. And the U.S. and Israel did not anticipate that they would be anticipating it. They knocked off the first three levels of government, and there's always somebody else to fill in their boots and still shoot missiles enough that they can close the Straits of Hormuz. And this business about them going in for another round of negotiations, I'll believe it when I see it. Basically, what the Trump keeps beating his chest, he wants everything. There's going to be no compromise and everything. Well, but he always says that, and he always was out. So, especially when he was dealing with China and that, he talked it out pretty quick. And this particular time, I don't know if it's his madman policy to make him look like a screaming lunatic and make the Iranians afraid of him. I think they're plenty afraid of him, but we don't know what's going to happen there. I think what's going to happen is they're going to go back to the IRGC, and that's exactly what a Fox commentator was talking about the other day. I watch Fox more than I ever have watched Fox on YouTube because I want to see what kind of lunacy the right is up to. And when I listen to them and their sort of sycophantic, bootlicking approach to Trump and everything he does, but every once in a while you'll get a pearl of wisdom. And one guy says, you know what? Our only choice is to go back to the IRGC, which Obama had done, and make some sort of arrangement that looks like the IRGC, but it's not really the IRGC, where you have intensive inspections going on. Mm-hmm. That was the best deal of all time. Have you ever read what the IRGC was all about? It was complete. It's thorough. It had the United States, Great Britain, Germany, France, China, and Russia, all with eyes on Iran. They had to give up huge stockpiles of uranium when that came into effect, and they also had to have monitors and surprise monitors all the time. And there wasn't a way that they could make 1 ounce of uranium without being known about. And yet Donald Jesus Trump decided he was going to quit that back in 2000, and that's because of his strong Zionist. There's a lot of strong Zionist contributors to his.
We need the same sort of deal. We'll need the same sort of deal anyway, right?
Yeah, there's going to be no way out of it. They're going to have to go to the IRCJ. It's just like Trump when he changed the name of NAFTA to the USMCA and says the greatest deal of all time. When everybody looked at the trade deal between Canada and the United States and Mexico, it was pretty much the same as the one that I think it was Clinton approved or whatever. 26 years before that. But he said it was the greatest deal of all time, and it's a good thing he was there to make it the greatest deal of all time. But it was pretty much the same deal. Now, I think he's going to come in and do the same thing here. He's going to come in with an IRGC, the same sort of thing that Clinton did. He'll name it something, say it's the greatest deal of all time, and the world is now safe from nuclear bombs.
Yeah, I think.
And they didn't even know whether. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think that the world was unsafe from nuclear bombs beforehand either. But
the problem I see is Russia using tactical nuclear bombs in Ukraine because it doesn't look good for them there. If anyone's going to use another powder keg would be Pakistan and India. But I keep saying this and nobody seems to believe me. They think, Iran wants to get a bomb so they can put it on a missile and send it all the way to the United States or to Europe. Well, it would be senseless for them to do anything like that because they would be turned into an ashtray.
Yeah. And the thing is, having a bomb and firing it in the direction of the US, if they fire it over Europe, headed towards Washington, the East Coast, or New York, it's going to get shot down through Europe at some point.
It doesn't matter which route they want to take; it'll be detected. And even if they have, 5 of them get through, those are A bombs. So they're going to do a whole lot of damage. But guess who's got the H bomb? Really, 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 really big H bombs. H bombs. 2 H bombs will wipe out the whole country. Who the United States has. And who do you think? Do you think that China and Russia is going to allow Iran to shoot a missile with a bomb on it? It's completely a deterrent because they're surrounded by people who have the bomb. Russia has the bomb. Israel has the bomb. And Pakistan was right on the border, has the bomb. They're surrounded by people who have nuclear capabilities or countries. And okay.
Okay. The other thing about this, by the way, is also Israel and Lebanon are having formal talks in Washington started yesterday.
They're BS talks. They're all in the surface. Now, anybody understands what's going on in Lebanon. This is a difficult situation here. As I said before, in the 1980s, southern Lebanon was invaded by the Israelis, and the people that lived there, largely Shia Muslims, saw them as liberators and cheered them. But once they saw that the Israelis were there to be more of an occupier and not a liberator, they started to fight back. And that's when Hezbollah, Party of God, was created. Instead, up until this time, most of the insurgents or parties against Israel were more or less communist aligned ideologically, like the PLO. But after a while, they became more religiously aligned instead. So Hezbollah became a Shia Muslim militia that was formed to fight back against Israel, and they did a pretty good job. They chased Israel out twice, I think, and Israel's back at it again. But Israel and the composition of that little country, Lebanon, is Sunni Muslims, Shia Muslims, large amount of Shia Muslims, and the large Christian denomination. At one time, one half of the country was Christian. So what's happening now, though, is the Shia Muslim group is almost an autonomous group within Lebanon. The other Lebanese don't like it because the activities of Hezbollah brings a lot of war and damage to the country. They can't get on their feet.
Yeah.
Hezbollah goes over to Syria and starts fighting, or throws a few bombs at Israel and so on. However, they're almost an independent group.
Yeah. And again, the Israelis are continuing their advance in southern Lebanon and repeatedly hit the capital of Beirut. It was funny that Beirut is more or less pretty much a devastated city nowadays. But if you wind the clock back to the 60s and 70s, it was seen as the Paris of the Middle East. You know, a city that was flowing, vibrant, westernized.
The country itself was called the Switzerland of the Middle East too, because it handled a lot of Middle East banking. Now, who's destabilized this? Who knows? But we do know that Israel has a greater Israel project, and it wants a piece of Lebanon, and it wants a piece of Syria, and it wants a piece of it wants all of Jordan. On both sides of the, that's the greater Israel project that they claim that they don't want, but they advertise it freely. Anytime you go to Israel or something like that, you can find anybody want. Like the Zionist regime is like, it's out of control. Government can't handle them anyway. So they that's a problem. And of course, they want to go up to the Litani River. So what do you have now? Here you get this poor country, Lebanon, that's been trying to fight off Hezbollah on its own politically, and then you get Israel keeps poking themselves into southern Lebanon. And what's Lebanon going to do? Lebanon has an army. Do you want Lebanon will have to go to a major civil war in order to get through Hezbollah? It doesn't have the means to do that, right? The only thing that they were hoping for is once Iran got beat up as badly as it did, and Syria is no longer a factor, that Hezbollah would sort of wilt on the vine, because the money and the munitions and things can't get to them from Iran. So they figured, well, Hezbollah would become weaker and weaker and weaker. Well, that didn't seem to happen. They still have quite a bit of fight in them. As the Israelis will tell you right now, they invaded southern Lebanon, and it's a lot harder slog than they thought it was. And the Houthis too, they were supposed to wither on the vine once Iran got Syria and Lebanon, or Iran had got bombed to bits, but that doesn't seem to have happened. So there's a lot of miscalculations here along with war. All I can see is more war, and these negotiations in Lebanon between Israel and Lebanon will not bear fruit because they're not including Hezbollah.
Yeah.
And if you don't include Hezbollah, how are you going to get a peace treaty?
Yep.
If the one faction of Lebanon you're fighting with is the Hezbollah, and you're not fighting with any of the other factions, how are you going to get a peace deal?
Yep. All right. Okay, we'll move on from the peace deal. We'll probably come back to some of that later on. Okay, so moving on. Strange's ex-partner is testifying in the assault trial that's happening this week. Right, so his former partner testified yesterday about the domestic assault. The trial started yesterday, and basically talking about the incidents that occurred and how he punched her and tore her hair out.
I don't know. I can't see, although I don't know much about Mike Strange, but I can't see him, except for the interviews we had with him and stuff. I can't really see him going into a rage like that. But anyway, I'm just thinking, a guy that's a boxer going into a rage, he would have been, don't you think even in a drunken state, he would have been guarded against doing that? Does he have a history of hitting women? That's another thing. He's he's not a spring chicken, and if he hasn't had a history of assaulting women. Usually guys who assault women do it most of their adult life. So I don't know. I'm not trying to defend him though, as I'm just saying you've got two super drunk people having an argument. And I don't know. I think Mike's going to get off because there's too much alcohol and intoxication involved here.
And well, she's talking about, she remembers saying this time he's going to kill her, which when people put that kind of this time he's going to kill me kind of statement up, they're talking realistically about it's been happening a lot. However, the one thing is when defense lawyer Michael Delgado questioned her, he said made the statement that his Olympic boxer punching on you and the extent of his injuries is something under your chin, right? So he's kind of very minimizing it. You know, what he's basically saying here is if he was really punching you, you'd have been black and blue all over.
Well, you know, I don't know. I guess we're going to have to try to figure out. There's going to take other witnesses here because if you get two really drunk people, and one denies vehemently that they ever touched the other one, and the other one says he beat me, you're almost going to need some sort of outsized witness.
Yeah.
And you never know what's going to happen to you when you're full of the juice. You know, sometimes like I did a essay once on the effects of alcohol on a person and what it does. Alcohol reduces the inhibitions of a person. It reduces the inhibitions of, you have natural inhibitions for anger. So if you get angry, you just don't go ahead and strike the person across from you. You might get angry at them, and that's it. But if you've been drinking alcohol, there's more of a chance that you will go take that next step. Laughter too. If you see something that's a little bit funny, you're more reserved. Put a little bit of alcohol in, you're going to laugh harder. So what alcohol does is it reduces the inhibitions of emotions. So in a particular case like this would fit. Yeah, Mike could have gone strange and hit a woman. It's not likely though. I mean, there's a prohibition among men to hit women. You know.
Yeah.
Men know the rule. Do not hit women.
Yeah. There you go. Mike Strange trial. Yep, we're just doing that now. All right. He's saying he is saying anything to calm the markets. This is being Trump. What is North Korea doing? Yeah, nothing right now. His dependence on booze is the issue. 2 DWIs and more will be his downfall. I'll leave that one there. Okay, his drinking problem. You never know what the cause of that or how he reacts. To booze, and that's true. You don't know how a person reacts to booze. Everybody's different. My question is,
then different times can cause different reactions, but so we obviously know that he's very, very popular. He is the least capable politician on council, and yet he gets the most votes 2 or 3 elections in a row. I don't know how many. He's run for 2 times, right? So he's a very popular guy. It's a popularity contest with him. Now, what's he going to do? He's also quite charming. I don't know if he's going to be able to use that in the court, you know. But we don't know. But it's the alcohol thing, and I don't know. She was like, I'll just boil it down to, she's plastered, he's plastered, and anything could have happened. And we're going to need an outside witness, as I said before. I hope that this resolves itself justly, if he did hit her, he should pay the consequences. If he didn't, then she should. I think in the long run, neither one of them really knows what happened completely that night. But I don't know what would be her motivation for keeping this going. You know, not coming to a settlement earlier. Like if they might have been able to negotiate something in between and stop this process altogether. But
yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, it puts up a set of drama for Niagara Falls. Our Olympic boxer, is accused of hitting a woman in a drunken rage. So we'll see what happens. The soap opera continues.
Yeah, and it will do, because there's not going to be an easy resolution to this, right?
But evidently, Mike's really got to go to do a little counseling.
Yeah. I know part of the problem here is been that Mike's been in denial mode ever since it started.
Yeah, both people here have admitted being very much under the influence of alcohol during this whole incident.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You might see Mike down at AA pretty soon, but at least he should go there if a lot of what is being said is true. But as pointed out, he's had doubt, like he's irresponsible when he's been drinking because he drinks and drives, right? If you drink and drive and you know the consequence of that, you think, okay, I'm going to get away with it, right? You don't think that if I've been drinking, that makes me less able to respond to traffic and I could kill somebody, not just me.
Yeah.
I could kill somebody else. If you don't start thinking that way, then where's your sense of responsibility?
Yeah. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna tie one on tonight, but I'm not gonna drive. But if Mike's done that, now he's got caught twice, how many times he's done that?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And this puts the whole question about reliability on the polls at the next election in October, doesn't it?
Yeah. I don't think he'll suffer much. I think he'll still get a fair amount of votes. He might be under Lori Lococo this time.
Well, it depends as to whether he gets a sentence or not.
Look, I got to call out the people of Niagara Falls. I got to call them out. What the hell are you doing electing Mike Strange for council? Why?
Yeah.
He's not a very good politician at all. He's not nowhere near it. He just follows along with his buddies there. He does what the other guys tell him to do, Diodati and Peter Angelo and, that kind of thing. So what are we doing electing him as a counselor? It's down to us. We're the ones that are dumb.
Yeah.
Like, there are plenty of people out there that have abilities to do something more representative than what he's doing. So I don't know. That's the problem with democracy. Sometimes it's a popularity contest.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that is true. Right. And that's also true of our next story. Pierre.
I want to put this first too. There's nothing against Mike. He seems to be all right of a dude. He's maybe his heart's in the right place in a lot of different things, and he's done super well with the charities that he helps out. But he ain't no politician.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving on. Pierre Poilievre says he's not going anywhere despite the loss in these 3 by-elections. And essentially, the by-election, the Terrebonne by-election, they went down from what was it in the? They went down from 16% in the previous election to 3.3% in this.
You're talking about the one in Quebec, right?
Yeah, the Quebec one.
The riding in Quebec. So the riding of The Liberals gained all 3 seats in the by-elections. It was a close call. The only place it was a close call was the one in Quebec. And the Conservatives at one time had 16% in that particular riding, and it went all the way down to 3.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of understandable. I don't think that is a reflection on Poilievre at all. I think Poilievre really, really made a mistake in the last election. He didn't realize there was a new guy in town. His name was Carney, and he was very effective. And he was the Bank of England governor. He's the Bank of Canada governor, and he's a wealthy man on his own too. So this is a guy that's a banker, an economist, and that kind of thing. So he's not a drama teacher. And Poilievre had never been that popular as a leader, because even though he was very amusing sniping at Trudeau all those times, and I used to look forward to that as he chewed out Trudeau and the Liberals. The average Canadian, to my surprise, didn't like that. They didn't think it was someone else in his party should have been doing that, not the leader of the party themselves. The leader of the party should have had a more dignified posture. I don't get that, but that's apparently what they found out doing polls and so on. I mean, at one time, everybody liked Singh way more than the other 2 leaders, but they weren't going to vote for him because he's an NDP. Now, what Poilievre has done is he's learning the hard way. He campaigned when Carney won. He was against Poilievre, who was campaigning as if he was campaigning against Trudeau. And he was warned about this, as we remember. We covered it on the show. The other Conservatives, the provincial Conservatives and previous Conservative prime ministers and stuff said, no, you can't. You're not going to be able to win if you do that. You're developing a campaign as if Justin Trudeau is still in office. You got a whole different guy there. You can't do that. You're gonna mess this up. And that's what happened. They did.
Yeah.
Even though they did much better than they had done in many years. So I kind of feel sorry for Poilievre in a way. He should have been prime minister, and we should have gone through the cycle of life where you get a liberal government and conservative government, and then a liberal government, and so on. But that didn't happen this time, because along comes Carney, and he adapts a lot of the strategies that the Conservatives were pointing out. And he moved the party right into the center, and he got away, and he started dusting off all the flakes in the party, right? They're all gone now, right? Yeah. All the flakes are out of the way. And the other problem Poilievre has is that he's too much of a tyrant. He has strict orders of when you can and cannot go on TV or have an interview. Newsdag would not do a debate. Other Conservatives throughout the province would not do a debate during that last election. Not good. They drew the conclusion that they would never get a fair coverage if they did a debate, but walking away from the debate made it look like they're scared to talk about the issues, and that was a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And but again, just because he went through in January the Conservative review, doesn't necessarily mean that he's got security in that job. It's possible that that he could be turned on by his own Conservative, backbenchers.
It could be, but right now the Liberals have a majority, so Poilievre and the Conservatives are not going to be able to unseat the ruling party now.
Yeah.
When they still had a minority, you knew that there would have to be an election called sometime this year. And as a matter of fact, as soon as Carney won and he did not have a majority, everyone was saying, well, within 18 months, we're going to have a decider, another vote to see if they can get a majority. He didn't have to. Between by-elections and floor crossers, he's got his majority. So he's good until 2029.
Yeah.
He's good for another almost 3.5 years. So, there's going to be, he's going to have, the conservatives will not be able to usurp or get an election going. So they're stuck. They're stuck for 3 years. So they might as well leave Poilievre in for the meantime. Poilievre has changed his image smartly. He's done what he's been told to do. He was on Joe Rogan, and apparently he did very well on Joe Rogan. And and he has time now to analyze the problem there is. He's a very good politician. Don't forget that. Like he ran into a kind of like a superstar with Carney walked in.
Yeah.
So he is very, unfortunately, he's a very, very good politician. And I think he would do a really good job.
I think coming for anybody coming up against Carney, it's a new situation because you're dealing with a person who knows economics, a person who had been tapped by Trudeau as a potential new
finance minister.
Yeah, finance minister, who basically looked well beyond just that finance minister role, and as a prime minister is already showing a lot of that talent, whether you like him or not. And obviously the Conservatives do not. He's changed the Liberal Party.
Yeah, and I see from our friends locally, they have a severe Carney derangement syndrome, CDT, CDS. There's lots of CDS out there where they complain vehemently about all the stuff he is or isn't doing, and yet they don't have any kind of proof whether they did or not. Yeah. But so you're going to get people who are from the right wing who will just slag him to death just for the reason that he's right from the left. But he's not actually from the left. He's from dead in the middle, center. As I said before, he adopted a lot of the conservative ideas, like getting rid of the carbon tax. That's what he did. And so we have a situation here where Poilievre, I think he's a very good politician, but he's going to have to learn a lot of lessons. And you might as well, the Conservative Party might as well leave him in place right now because he did build the conservative registered conservatives 300,000 more than he did before. And he did very well in the election compared to the previous elections. Yeah. So he did advance the cause of the conservatives. And he's got 3 years now to build the party and try to find a focus. And if he's smart, he would cooperate on Carney on things that everybody wants done. So if Carney says he wants to build another pipeline, Pierre Poilievre's job is to say, yeah, we looked at that. It's not as big a pipeline as we want, but we're gonna go behind it, instead of finding reasons not to.
Yep, exactly. So it's a time of change for Poilievre, I think. And he has to adapt because if he's as leader of the opposition, he's got to adapt and essentially become an opposition to Carney, not an opposition to Trudeau.
No, I like the guy. The only thing I don't like about the Conservatives and Poilievre himself is he's a Zionist. He is Israel first kind of dude. He went there to Israel back in when he was a young guy, and he drank the Kool-Aid. And did he ever go visit a Palestinian? He never talks about that. He talks about going to Israel and having to go all the time and how Israel is the greatest thing on the planet Earth. He's never had anything to say about Gaza, what's going on there, as far as I know. And even Trudeau was weak on that one, hugely weak on that. But the Conservative Party is a carte blanche for Israel. I think that's going to hurt them because that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't vote for Conservatives, because they have I think they're over. The Israel lobby in Canada probably works them over pretty much. So as far as foreign policy, I don't like that. I hated that with Harper. He was super Israel. He couldn't even spell Palestine. And he was over there in Israel and he saw the barbed wire and all that stuff and he pretended he didn't. So I disliked him very much for that. Though Harper was a very good administrator. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Poilievre will go down in history as a person that probably reformed the Conservative Party and made it a good mirror image of what the Liberal Party is going through now. A practical party based mostly on centrist policies, trying to get something done and abolishing some of their idealism that has clogged up the works.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, Turkey is to build a new Black Sea Canal that's going to operate alongside the Bosphorus. But part of this is that I believe what they're doing is essentially the Bosphorus goes through a number of twists and turns as rivers do. What they're looking
It's not a river. It's a strait.
But it goes through a number of it's not a river, you're right, but it's not straight, right? And what they're looking to do is to implement a new canal, the Istanbul Canal, that will basically go which will plot a straight path and have like a canal, northbound and a southbound canal between the Sea of I forget the name of Marmara. Yep, thank you. And the Black Sea. To improve the quality of, and they're talking about getting this done by about 2027 or 2028.
They can't get it done that fast. They got it.
Well, they must have already been dealing with it. They must have already been working on it.
Well, when I was very, very surprised with that because the Bosphorus Strait has been utilized all these years, and I've never heard a minute about the Bosphorus Strait not being able to never. And so it was just a complete surprise to me that they want to put a canal there when everyone has the choice to go free through the Bosphorus.
Yeah.
Now, Turkey can cut off the Bosphorus anytime it wants to, as well as what Iran is doing with the Straits of Hormuz. As a matter of fact, they're on both sides of the Bosphorus, so they could really pinch it off. But that's the international waterway, and it has been for thousands and thousands of years, like way back in the Greek and Phoenician times. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
And yeah, I mean it's Homer's Odyssey and Iliad and stuff like that is supposed to reference the Bosphorus. And when you start going up to Troy and stuff like that, well, you're just a stone's throw away, basically, from the Bosphorus. That was one of the reasons why the city of Troy was there. He could control some of the trade networks that go from the Black Sea into the Sea of Marmara. So I don't know. It talks about that, and I'm trying to look at a map because I didn't think the Bosphorus was that wiggly. Do you think that? I just don't get the idea why they would put it there.
I've seen pictures. It is windy. It's not dead straight. I'm not entirely sure what this canal will do. I was hoping I'd see a map of it because if it's opening next year, it's clearly already in the works.
Yeah, I'm looking now at the Straits of well, there's a few bends in it, but I still can't see how that would change anything because it's fairly wide. And if you see any pictures, even in Istanbul, where it might be even the narrowest, there's still plenty of room there.
It's more. It's basically it's about 2.5 miles wide, I believe. But it going through Istanbul.
Yeah, so there's lots of room for all kinds of shipping there. Yeah, but see, the article doesn't make a case for it.
Yeah, yeah.
But if they're going to build it, they must have done the analysis that they can see what they can't get any money out of the Straits of Bosphorus. So if ships go back and forth through the Straits of Bosphorus, they don't have to pay any kind of toll. But if they use a canal, they will, as the Panama Canal or the Suez Canal. So why Turkey's going to build this and facilitate that? I just don't get it. But anyway, I'd have to dig a little deeper in why they think that people would actually take their canal when the Bosphorus is there available for free.
Well, I just want to see whether there's.
Now the canal would be not like there was no hydraulics or anything. It would be sea level to sea level. So
yeah,
and I
don't know.
Just don't get it.
Yep. No, neither do I. All right. And it may want. Well, I'm wondering now whether it's fake news.
I don't know. I've never heard of it up to this time.
Yeah.
Well, let me try AI right now. I'll ask him a question. I read that and I was very curious. Well, it sounds good. They're going to try to capitalize on canal, but they have the Straits of Bosphorus, and they're going to make it parallel to the Straits of Bosphorus when the Bosphorus Straits are very wide and easily navigable, as far as I know.
Yeah.
So let me ask AI and see what they think. Why does Turkey want to make a canal alongside the Bosphorus? Turkey is constructing the canal. Start with Canal Istanbul, 45-kilometer artificial waterway west of the Bosphorus, primarily to alleviate dangerous traffic congestion. Okay, now that starts to make sense.
Yeah.
Bypass.
That's all I'm thinking. That's all I'm thinking.
Okay. So it is. There is a lot of congestion. So what they're going to do is they're going to offer, you can go through our canal rather than get congested in the Straits of Bosphorus.
And I'm presuming that they'll have a northbound canal and a southbound canal, to make that easy. It's 45 kilometers long, 275 meters wide, and 21 meters deep.
Okay, here it is. So we thought it was wide enough, but here's the reason. Safety and congestion. The Bosphorus is one of the world's most congested waterways, with over 40,000 ships passing annually, posing high risks of accidents, fires, and pollution in the heart of Istanbul. Geopolitical control. The project aims to give Turkey more control over military traffic. Because the canal is not a natural waterway, it may not fall under the same restrictions. Okay, so you want to speed up your trip, you can come through our canal. It'll cost you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had no idea that it was as congested as they say it was. I know a lot of wheat and grain comes through there because both Russia and Ukraine are pretty much the breadbasket for a lot of Middle East and African countries. So I know there's a lot of grain traffic and other stuff, of course. But that's a narrow. Okay, so now I know. That makes much more sense.
Yeah, and it's going to be running to the west of Istanbul, so it's on the European side of Istanbul.
Safer there, isn't it? If you put it on the other side, I don't know.
It's more mountainous on the other side as well.
Yeah, that's true too.
Right. I was looking at the map for this, but couldn't find the canal itself. And anyway, yeah.
Well, it's only 45 kilometers long, and it's going to be sea level to sea level. So
yeah.
Anyway, good luck with that.
Yeah, and if you think about it, 45 kilometers long, it's not quite as long as the Welland Canal.
We should point out too that Israel is pointing out Turkey as the next bad guy in the Middle East. Once they've sort of destabilized Iran, their next power play will be against Turkey.
I don't see
that's
that.
going to be difficult for them because Turkey belongs to NATO, and we see the United States sort of wiggling out of NATO now. So if Israel then attacks Turkey, then the other NATO countries will have to come in and protect Turkey. But if the United States pulls out of NATO, then I don't know.
Yeah,
it's getting strange out there.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so moving on, and talking about that, Netanyahu faces a ceasefire backlash about the Iran ceasefire. The Israelis are questioning whether it was oversold and under-delivered.
One of the reasons why he killed so many people on the day the ceasefire is supposed to begin was to make sure that the ceasefire really didn't mean much. And we know that's because of where the IDF hit inside of Beirut. They hit a lot of Sunni neighborhoods. The Sunnis aren't their problem in Lebanon. It's the Shia, it's the Hezbollah groups. And he's wiped out complete buildings, taken out entire families. And it's a questionable about who they're after and why. The main reason seems to be cause as much problems as possible to make sure that the ceasefire didn't happen. The ceasefire was supposed to include Hezbollah and Israel ceasing fire, but suddenly they said, including Vance, who just seems to be some sort of puppet on a stick these days, who will just say anything. He pretty much said, "Oh well, I think they made a mistake. That wasn't really included." It's very hard to tell who's telling the truth there. Vance lies a lot. Trump is an incredible liar. Netanyahu will twist and lie, and the Iranians will lie, and everybody will lie and twist the truth and put the spin on it.
But didn't you know? Sorry, you're talking about lies as if they're unusual, Dave. Didn't you know there's a new philosophy in town? If you lie about it, often enough, a lie becomes the truth.
Well, that goes back to Stalin and Hitler, and probably before that. I think even Machiavelli said something like that, didn't he? Back in the 50s.
Probably.
Yeah. So the bigger the lie, the more and things like Stalin would say, one person getting killed is a tragedy, a million is a statistic. I think Israel is very confident that everyone will forgive their atrocities they're committing in the name of whatever the Zionist cause they have. Their whole Hasbara approach, their Hasbara philosophy of taking over that area is kind of chilling, but they're backed up by the biggest guy in town, and the biggest guy in town is influenced by AIPAC and the Israel lobby to a huge extent. That I don't know if you're ever going to get real peace negotiations when you've got Zionists running the show.
Yeah,
you like Kushner, he's a Zionist. Witkoff, he's a Zionist. How are you going to get a fair shake when you don't have people who have, somewhere in the middle, somewhere who's trying to find a fair deal when you have groups like that? So I don't get it.
But of course, AIPAC's influence is on both sides of the house.
Yeah, well, according to I think it was Thomas Massey, almost every one of the Republicans owe allegiance to AIPAC, and 75% of the Democrats owe allegiance to AIPAC. You could see what happens when even Newsom, when he was asked about AIPAC, he wiggled and wormed and came up with nonsense answers. Like he knows that he's got to be careful, So, but the momentum against AIPAC is out there, but they're still extremely powerful, and they own the politicians. and they own Trump because Trump got his campaign, the Adelsons and the other big Zionists who filled up his campaign coffers. So he owes them. Plus, of course, all the rumors that they have dirt on him from the Epstein days. Putin and Netanyahu have dirt on him. And so if there's dirt to be found, Mossad would find it, wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't really believe that so much, but I do believe that the Israel lobby is so powerful that Trump can't do anything if he wanted to. He's following Netanyahu's lead. What do I do, Bibi? What do I do? And Bibi says, do what I say, Jesus. Anyway, but Netanyahu himself is facing a bit of a backlash all over the place, but he don't care. He don't care. He gets away with everything. He's a master politician. He knows exactly how far to push things and get things the way he wants. I mean, for 30 years, since 1992, and I pointed this out, since 1992, he's talked about Iran getting a nuclear bomb. Since 1992. In 1992, he says they're 3 to 5 years away of getting an atomic bomb. And that was 1992. In 95, he says the same thing, 3 to 5 years. 96, he changes his tactic and says they're extremely close of getting a bomb. That's 1996. That was 30 years ago. And he says they're extremely close to getting a bomb. In 2012, he says a few months. 2012, in a few months, they're going to have a bomb, right? Do they have a bomb? No. In 2015, he says they're weeks away, months, maybe even weeks away from getting a bomb. 2018, he says the same thing. They're weeks away from getting a bomb. In 2023, they're weeks away from getting a bomb. How come they don't have a bomb?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know,
the one thing in all of this,
the only one who was dumb enough to believe all that rap was Donald Jesus Trump. And
Jesus. Okay.
Well, it is okay. There's Donald J. Trump. Now we know it means Jesus.
Yeah.
Dumb, Donnie. Donnie, dumb. Anyways, we're in a big mess right now, and I hope it resolves itself pretty quick because there's going to be people who suffer out there.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming. And Dave?
I will talk about Gaza again. Gaza's a nightmare. Gaza is what was going to happen all over the Middle East if it's left to happen. People will be bombed, and they'll be put in positions where they have no life at all. Like as in the West Bank, they're doing the same thing in the West Bank. They're making it intolerable. They have settlers running into Christian villages and Muslim villages, burning people's cars, smashing their windows. They even kill people once in a while. And that is to make it so hard to live there that they'll move. That's what they want to do, is push them out, go somewhere else, go to Jordan, go here and that. These are people who have lived there for over 1,000 years, their families, and want to get them out. So you tell me, like, where's the justice in this world? Israel is out of control. They have nothing to do with democracy. They're an apartheid regime. And we had it, like, I mean, in South Africa, they had a pretty good democracy as long as you were white, but if you're black, you weren't. It's the same things happen in Israel right now. The West Bank, if you're Jewish, you're going to have all kinds of rights. If you're Palestinian, you're not even going to be able to get to the hospital. Same thing as in that cage they call Gaza. You go there and you rot to death. And if we can't rot you enough to make you leave, then we'll find ways of killing you. Anyway, without further ado, I bid you adieu. Pray for peace.